I'm sure that you've heard people talk about the idea of radical responsibility, taking radical responsibility for your life. And this is an important concept, especially if you're on a journey of self-development, of growth, of desiring to become the highest version of yourself. I really do believe that taking radical responsibility for your life and all aspects of it is fundamental to your growth. But I like chapter 4 of Neville Goddard's book, Out of This World. This is written in 1948. In this book, he really talks about sort of the mystical side of why that actually makes sense. Not just telling you to take responsibility for your life and take responsibility for your actions, but explaining almost from a spiritual angle why it's so fundamentally important to actually do this, why this makes complete sense, why it's actually the only way to create the world that you want. The title of this chapter is called No One to Change But Self. And so I just wanted to talk about this a little bit and just read for you a few of the key excerpts that really jump out for me in this chapter as Neville talks about this idea of, really to get to create the life you want, you have to not focus on the external, on changing circumstances or things. He gets into this a little bit, but really you have to figure out how to change yourself. You have to go within. So let's dive into some of the key phrases here, the key lessons that Neville shares in chapter 4 of his book, Out of This World. The title of the chapter is No One to Change But Self. Neville says, because life molds the outer world to reflect the inner arrangement of our minds, there is no way of bringing about the outer perfection we seek other than by the transformation of ourselves. No help cometh from without. The hills to which we lift our eyes are those of an inner range. Then he says, our own consciousness is our only reality, the only foundation on which all phenomena can be explained. We can rely absolutely on the justice of this law to give us only that which is of the nature of ourselves. I think this next line is massive. It's massive. It's worth repeating. It's worth memorizing. It's worth coming back to every time you find yourself bumping up against a wall, not feeling like you're able to break through or achieve that goal or get what you want. Or, if you're working with team members or colleagues that are frustrating you and, family members that are frustrating you, I'm sure you can relate to this, right? Anytime that's happening, especially as it involves others or other people that you are working with, collaborating with in some way, and things aren't going the way that you want, come back to this line right here. Neville says, to attempt to change the world before we change our concept of ourselves is to struggle against the nature of things. There can be no outer change until there is first an inner change. As within, so without, right? Everything we do, unaccompanied by a change of consciousness, is but futile readjustment of surfaces. However we toil or struggle, we can receive no more than our assumptions affirm. To protest against anything which happens to us is to protest against the law of our being and our rulership over our own destiny. The circumstances of my life are too closely related to my conception of myself not to have been formed by my own spirit from some dimensionally larger storehouse of my being. If there is no pain to me in these happenings, I should look within myself for the cause. For I am moved here and there and made to live in a world in harmony with my concept of myself. I'm going to pause there because I really want you just to take this idea and ask yourself, where in your life currently are you working too hard externally to change situations, people, or circumstances? Where in your life have you been putting in so much physical, mental, emotional effort and struggle trying to change the world around you in physicality, the three-dimensional world around you, where instead of doing that, what you might consider doing alternatively is to go back within and shift the concept of yourself. Put in that work as described in this book and many of Neville's other books, right? The 3 steps he talks about in chapter 1 of this book, Out of This World. It talks about how to use your controlled imagination to change and shape your future, right? My invitation to you, my challenge to you in this video is to really reflect and ask yourself, where Are you struggling externally to change people, situations, or circumstances when instead you might consider going within and reevaluating, reflecting upon your concept of self? Because he talks about to attempt to change the world before we change our concept of ourselves is to struggle against the nature of things. There can be no outer change until there is first an inner change. As within, so without. So drop a comment below. Let me know if there's an area of your life that you're going to reevaluate the way that you're approaching the change that you're trying to create in that area. Just tell me, which area of your life are you really focused on right now, and where are you seeing an opportunity to recreate how you are in relationship to that area of your life. And once again, if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Throw on those notifications. Lots more coming to you to help you really take advantage of Neville Goddard's teaching. So thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.